Hello and welcome into the October altar space. So I have gotten out some of my favorite elements and decorations and kitschy things that I like to bring in this time of season to really connect in with the energies that are available for us that this season brings. And so you'll see throughout the month, I have so many decks that we can't possibly work with just one, but I'm going to introduce you to the first one tonight and also show you the other options that I have going on here that we will be delving into. All of these as we go through the season, a number of Halloween tarot decks and also oracle decks, Samhain. We also have a really fun one called Deep, Dark, and Dangerous. And the one that we're going to be starting with, we used last year and really had a great time with. It's called Trick-or-Treaters Tarot. So that one's super fun. That's the one we're going to be using here now for our Sunday card pull for our week ahead for our collective energies as we are still endeavoring to make it to the other side here of eclipse season, as we also are fully in Libra season as well. So very much in the energy of our relationships and how we are relating internally, externally, bringing in a sense of balance and harmony, healing to those things. So, we're just getting right started with this month as we roll right in this week, October 1st, kicking it off. October 2nd, we have our solar eclipse, new moon in Libra and a solar eclipse. So I'll touch on that here in our astrological weather in a few moments. And also, we're going to pull tonight the Queen of the Moon Oracle and the Queen of the Sun, since once again we have this meeting place with the solar eclipse that's happening this week. So we'll have those to support our messages along with our Halloween Trick-or-Treaters Tarot to sort of set the tone here for our collective week ahead. So as we say, this is a collective reading, which means that you are always welcome to take what resonates and leave the rest. That's how it works with a collective reading. And anything that doesn't, you can leave it there. There's always someone there to pick it up. And I love hearing from you guys about how these things show up for you. It's always neat to see that even though each of these days of the week, there's a card with an intention as a placeholder, these messages work together throughout the week and certainly take us well beyond that as we're talking about collective energy. If you would like a personal card pull this week, feel free to let me know. You can quick reply to this message, or if you're watching this in one of my social media spaces, you can comment or just reach out in whatever way works for you. I'll be doing those again because it's such a busy week. We're kicking things off with the Empowerment Pack. I'll be doing the free personal card pulls on the other side of those. So as long as you're willing to be patient, your card pull will come in divine timing. If you're already with me for the October Empowerment Pack, I am so excited. I can't wait to talk to you about these channeled words that have come through, this energy, which is coming from another one of our Halloween decks that I'm really feeling here to support us through the season. And get in touch with you for your month ahead readings and then the new moon readings. So there's lots to cover. I will be in touch. Everyone is invited to join. So if you would like to work with me more comprehensively this month, that's the October Empowerment Pack. I was just talking in the prior polo about some of the differences in my offerings, that they're all available a la carte, or my best option is the bundle, where for 3 months, this last quarter, October, November, December, you and I work together with these monthly readings and all of the other fun. This is my favorite time of the year because I just have so many tools to work with that I think really just weave so beautifully with nature and the universal energies and everything that we're moving through right now. So everyone is welcome to join for that. We're kicking it off this week. Please let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, let's tune in here. I'm actually going to spray first. I want to bring in the balance and harmony. So we'll bring in Archangel Raphael and the Emerald Green Ray, because this meets us wherever we are. I talked about that with the Emerald Renewal and Recovery when I did the card pulls on the September Sharecast for this weekend. You know, this emerald energy connects us into the heart chakra, and also the vibration of healing, harmony, and balance. Again, in relationships, we're bringing in this energy of Libra season and the new moon in Libra coming in here just this week, solar eclipse, and also the energy of new beginnings, green for growth and for that which is new and just coming into blossoming. Wherever we are in that stage of growth, whether we're just planting those seeds, if we're turning over the soil, or we're starting to see the fruits, wherever we are, that energy is coming in with the intention to meet us there. So now that we bring that in, let's also just connect in here, since this is a collective reading, but with the way that this works is we're connecting in with our higher selves, with the energy of our inner knowing, intuition, and the energies of the universe. So whatever that means to you and however you refer to it, we're talking about angels, archangels, guides, loved ones in spirit, our higher selves, bringing through the highest available timeline, most expansive and healing energies that are available to us at this time. So that's the guidance that we seek. We're going to see what comes forward in our 5 cards, starting with the Monday energy, which notes the final day of September and kicking off our week here. So let's see what we get for Monday. The 9 of Wands. How appropriate that here at the end of the 9th month, and 9, of course, is the energy of almost there, almost to completion, the 10. So 9 brings in perseverance. Don't give up. Keep going. And it's so funny. I'm going to be having a reunion with these cards. I haven't used them since last year, and recalling some of the backstory of the different trick-or-treaters that we will see represented in this deck and just what's going on in this story. There's always a story, isn't there? I know we just finished September using the Storyteller Tarot, which was so fun. This one's going to have that Halloween flair. Okay, so we've got the 9 of Wands coming in here very appropriately to close out September. And then, like I always say, the first full week here of a month always feels very indicative of not just that week's energies, but kind of setting the tone for the month, you know, the energies that we may expect. And again, with all that we're navigating and wrapping up here and then starting of new cycles, oftentimes things could be very different on the other end of a month than they were when we started. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Let's see what happens here with the Tuesday card, which represents a potential block or challenge this week, and it is the first day of the month. So let's see what we have coming in here for 10-1. The King of Cups, the swamp monster, King of Cups. So there is definitely the energies of the feels and the emotions and flow. And again, this element of relationships and how we can best be navigating those. And I'm feeling the challenge of that through guidance that the King of Cups will offer. So we'll check in there. And then Wednesday is going to represent a midweek blessing for us. And it is, in fact, Eclipse Day. So Wednesday, solar eclipse in Libra coming in here with a new moon, a midweek blessing. I almost said blessings and brilliant disguises because, spoiler alert, when you join me for the Empowerment Pack, we're going to talk about those channeled words. But yes, there are blessings beneath those disguises as well. So this is kind of setting the tone here with this first card for our midweek blessing. 4 of Cups. Perfect. So what are we not seeing in front of us? This person looks like they just got, you know that when you get the trick-or-treater, the candy that's like the gross stuff that nobody likes. And I think that varies for everybody. But when I was a kid, it was like the Child's Play mix that would have like certain things in it that like were not the best candy, and then you knew the house that gave out the full-size bars. Well, this is this energy of like disappointment in what all came out of the bag, out of the trick-or-treat bag. So there's blessings though in disguise. So that's perfect. We'll talk about that. Wednesday's energy. Thursday is going to represent how we are growing. So thinking of that in the context of this first week of the month, thinking of that in the context of this eclipse season, how are we growing? The Emperor, card 4 of the major arcana. So yeah, this is bringing in this new structure, new stability, new strategies in terms of what we are building and what we are moving into. So we've got that major arcana energy coming in here for how we are growing this week. And then finally Friday, and then I'll choose our moon and sun oracle messages too. Friday's wrapping up the week. It's coming in for the Friday energy. 2 of Swords. Okay, yeah. So at this crossroads, at this choice point, at this place where there's an opportunity for us to see more, to see beyond, to really tap into this energy that's coming in. And then this is interesting here with this, with the eclipse too. So we will feel into that as well. So we have a little bit of couple of different suits popping up here, definitely still in those feels and the flow, but also there's some fire, there's some air and earth. You know, we have this sense of bringing it all in practical ways that we can apply as we move into and through this month. So these cards I'm pulling now, the Queen of the Moon and the Queen of the Sun, these are going to be the cards that I go deeper with in that new moon empowerment reading this week as well. So for those of you already joining, for those who are looking to kind of figure if you want to come along for one or some of the readings this month, the new moon empowerment option is available to just tap into this new moon and solar eclipse energies. And so these are the cards we'll be diving into. And again, that's a reading that you also get with the full empowerment pack as well. Okay, so Queen of the Moon, bringing forward an overarching energy for this week's solar eclipse, new moon in Libra. Queen of the Moon. Okay, we've got that card of fear. This is number 11, the card of fear. This is really a beautiful card and ties in very nicely with some of these messages that have already come forward. So that's our moon energy. And now we're going to tap into the sun energy to go with that, to balance that out. You know, with this energy of Libra, we're talking about the balancing of those scales and bringing in this harmony that we are looking to strike between, and this is light and shadow, you know, this energy of eclipse and the very powerful portals of transformation that they are. So card 11, fear for the moon, and the sun energy is bringing in, let's see. Card here. Creation. How beautiful is that? Bridget, creation. Number 19, which is a 10 energy. 1 + 9 is 10. So, you know, we start with the 9 here for the week with that 9 of Wands, wrapping up this 9th month and seeing us through to the 10th month as we step into this month, which again, I'm going to expand on this for sure in the empowerment pack. And I'm sure we'll touch on it as we go through these weekly card pulls as well, that this month is really serving to lay a lot of that groundwork that is taking us into 2025 and beyond. So we have this energy of fear and creation coming in. So I'm going to briefly touch on those here when we get into our week ahead messages, but then if you want to go deeper, they will be featured in the new moon empowerment reading. All right, guys, we have a lot to unpack here. I'm going to actually take a coffee break now. So I will be back this evening to break these down, give everybody a chance to catch up, find the October Sharecast, Sharecast and make your way in, but they'll be here for you in divine timing. Thank you so much again for being here. Can't wait to dive into this month with you. All right, let's get into it with some energetic weather this week. So just a few things I'm touching on, though they be few, they're still mighty and significant. So, we're moving here into October, and we just can't help but notice that we're starting to see that end of the year on the horizon. This is that time of year where things tend to really speed up. And we do have a lot of activity in the cosmic skies happening throughout this month. So most likely we're really feeling that momentum kind of pushing us along. But here and now, as we're beginning the month, we're deep in the trenches of eclipse season. So we may be finding ourselves feeling kind of stuck between one state and the next, or that we're moving to something that we just can't quite reach yet. And I'm seeing that in the cards this week too. So there's more to come, more to be revealed, more to come into fruition as we move into and through this month. But, we're really coming in here under these eclipsean energies. So we're going to talk about that solar eclipse a little bit here this week, arriving right at the top of the month. And, hopefully quite refreshed to welcome in some new energy, because new moons bring in that new energy. And certainly with this energy of a solar eclipse that's closing out some cycles. So let me talk about first, going in date order. Top of the week, September 30th, the final day of September, Monday, kicking off our week. The Sun conjunct Mercury. Mercury and the Sun are aligning here on the 30th, which is illuminating things for us, giving us all the information we need. So there's a couple of time machine moments here in these updates this week. So think back to the last Mercury retrograde cycle, and that's where it lasted from August 5th to the 28th. And it's likely that some confusions and conversations at that time, things that were not clear then due to the retrograde energies, may now be coming clear, may now be resolved, and you know fully where you stand. So even if I say resolved, even if it resulted in a dissolution of relationship, connection, end of the conversation, etc., now you know where you stand. Now you are empowered with awareness, information you didn't have before. So that's what we're looking at here with this transit that we speak of at the top of the week, Sun conjunct Mercury. Then, moving into between the 30th and the 1st, that energy coming in, and it's bringing this illumination and clarity. So this is actually a power day in the cycle of Mercury. So, moving, again, depending on where you are in the world, the time and such, I'm speaking of Monday, Tuesday. So power day, if you had any of those miscommunications, again, this alignment can help to iron and smooth things out. So you could be finding that issues from last month begin to make more sense. And your mind may be sharper today too. I don't know about you, but the brain fog has been real. So if you have been feeling fuzzy, foggy, just kind of out of touch, like I said, something you just can't quite grasp, this is a day for some clarity and sharpness. Yay! Okay, so then we have this Libra solar eclipse, October 2nd. This is the potent annular or ring of fire solar eclipse that's going to darken our daytime sky a bit, reminding us of the magic of the cosmos. So thinking back to our first eclipse season, and depending on this year, and depending on where you are in the world, I happen to be in the path of the eclipse that we had earlier this year, and it was quite a sight to behold. Now, this is not quite to that extent of totality, but we're talking about this opportunity for us to physically see that energy in motion. This eclipse represents new beginnings, and it's holding the promise of change. So it can activate some new pathways in our life and set us up on a new journey. And, we can feel eclipses like this a month before and a month after it arrives. So chances are we already have some clues as to what new beginning is on the horizon for us. And you may be really clear on that. It could be something that you're just tapping into. Again, this is where we can connect with the new moon empowerment reading this week to really get some guidance on how we can best work with these energies. Now, this eclipse is connected to the Aries solar eclipse that we had back in April. So again, time machine, what was going on back in April? Any intentions you set at that time are likely to be coming into fruition now. So like I said, we're in this moment of we might not quite be there yet. We haven't quite grasped it, but there is some clarity, illumination, and awareness that's coming in bit by bit. And, as I said, with this solar eclipse being connected to those eclipses from March and April of this year, we're really thinking back to those intentions and seeds that we planted at that time that we could finally be seeing come to sprout here in October. So, we're really just blessed with the opportunity here of a new pathway, feeling the results of all this hard work over the last 6 months finally coming into fruition. So like I said, we're going to dive deeper into that this week with the empowerment pack, with the new moon empowerment reading. So if you're feeling guided, please reach out and we will definitely connect so that you can get some further guidance there. Now, we're going to roll into our cards now with the messages, but I think while we're on this topic of eclipse, let's start with our Queen of the Moon and Sun oracle cards that came forward to set the tone for this week's lunation. So we start with our card messages, our two oracle Queen of the Moon and Sun cards that came forward for this week's new moon in Libra solar eclipse. So we were tapping into the moon and sun energies, and we got these two cards, which again, I'm going to dive into more deeply in the new moon empowerment reading. But I did just want to touch on each of them because they are both really powerful cards, starting with this card 11 for fear. The mantra with this card is I am courageous, and it talks about the time for courage being here, because fear is only useful if it teaches you something. You must examine whether your fears are old or new, useful or helpful, because fear blocks flow. Isn't this beautiful how on the other side of fear, we flow into creation? I mean, these two cards feel so aligned, and being that this solar eclipse is in Libra, we're talking about those scales and the balance of two extremes. We can't create from a fearful place. And it's really beautifully depicted in this card if you can make out the details of her sort of having in her solar plexus that disempowered version of herself in the frequency of yellow, because the spectrum of yellow encompasses from one extreme, fear, worry, anxiety, lack, to the other extreme of joy, bravery, courage, creative power, right? So, this eclipse coming in, once again, showing through relationship, through those dynamics, both internally and externally, how we can transform through our fear and that which holds us back into abundant creation. They're talking about the fears being old or new, useful or unhelpful. Reminds me again of the energetic cord cutting that I was talking about. And I'm really feeling guided to put together something special to offer this month using that cord cutting meditation. I love it. It involves sort of like a hot air balloon ride. And there's a guided part where we come through this cutting of those energetic cords, which is perfect, especially transitioning between seasons, like clearing out that old energy and then boosting the energy towards the new. There's a part of that meditation that asks you to really look at those cords. And I'm really feeling that in this card with these strands of energy we see connected to all of these crows that are showing, this energetic connection of things that we are hanging on to that may be blocking our creative expression. So there's a part of that meditation where we look at those cords and how do they look? Are they old? Are they new? Are they frayed? How did they get there? What have they served? So it's really feeling like a big old spiritual breadcrumb for me to say, yes, do that, because I do think that people could really benefit from it. And it'll be sort of like a mini version of the full-on energetic cord cutting. So there is another little part. I know I said I wasn't going to go too deeply into these cards, but there's another part here that I think is important to share with everyone. And again, we'll really get into it in the empowerment new moon reading. But talking about feeling into those fears and how we can feel both fearful and courageous at the same time. Because in order to harness courage, in order to really embody courage, we must have experienced the fear that compels us to pull ourselves out of that space. And I love the representation here of the bird cage and breaking free of that and so much more. So I thought it was interesting how it talked about the notion that some of these fears can be things that we don't even know exactly what they are or understand what's behind them that's actually blocking us. And so that is something that I feel, here it is. I'm looking for the part that said it because it really jumped out to me. That everyone has at least one fear, right? And that those fears perhaps don't serve you, right? They were put in place out of necessity, out of survival at a time where they had a purpose, but they're no longer serving. But, a fear that might be unrealistic or untrue, or perhaps it's based on an outmoded experience or something that is buried so deeply, we only see the symptoms rather than the fear itself. That's the part that was really powerful for me, is to say that like things show up in our lives as patterns of behavior, ways of being, falling into a comfort zone or muscle memory of the way in which we react to external forces, whether it's an encounter with another person, and it can be a tone of voice, a facial expression, a word that's used, or, a certain environment. And these things trigger in us underlying fears where we're aware of perhaps the symptoms of how we feel, but we don't quite know where is this coming from? What is this? Is this even mine? And that's something that I feel with the channeled words that came forward for me this month, we're really going to be diving into deeply as we go through the month. So wanted to share that on the fear. Let's look now at this beautiful creation card. So as I mentioned, following the numbers, this is card 19, Bridget. 19 is a 10 energy. 1 + 9 is 10, and 10 is wholeness, completion, and creation. Beginning at 1 is this source of what kicks off the creation, is having the 1. So creation is your birthright. All of us create. We don't have to be artists. The more we create, the better we get at it. Trust your intuition and master your craft in joy. Be the inspiration and inspire others. Do not apologize for your creative spirit. Regulate your emotions through creative endeavor. And the mantra says, I am infinitely creative. Now, this card does get into some of the mythos and background of Bridget and the way that she's represented in different cultures and such. So like I said, I'll be diving into that in the empowerment reading. But, just kind of even just looking at this right now, even connecting in with higher self, inner child, this beautiful energy that we see here of these two. And there is a sense of this connection with that. Most of our fears come from, like I said, from the past, but oftentimes from an inner child experience that's coming up to be seen. The symptoms, again, may present first before the fear themselves, but I think it's kind of showing us a beautiful flow from being in a state of fear into a place of creative energy, that we can really utilize those fears and know that we are safe and protected to do so and create from there. And it feels really powerful. So like I said, we'll build on it, but I think it's really neat that these two came together to sort of set the tone now for this week, for this month, for what we may expect on the other side of eclipse season. All right, here we go. Collective week ahead energies from the Trick or Treat Tarot. Starting with Monday, kicking off the week, we got the 9 of Wands. So like I said, this is a deck I used for Halloween and October season last year, and it's really cool. It's from Barbara Moore, And it comes with this amazing full-size book. So look, I'm sorry about these lights. They're driving me crazy. I don't like the reflection that I get. So it's like no matter where I go with these shiny pages, they're getting a glare. It's really neat. So like I said, this is one of our cards this week. It gives you a nice full color, like close up. So this is what we're tapping into to see the story and the mythos behind this, these trick-or-treaters that all start with so brilliantly the Fool, who sets out for the evening for trick-or-treating. And I love it. I love this. This is the coolest Fool. I love this. So this is the Fool setting out for trick-or-treating, and it weaves its way then through the major arcana and into all of the minor energies that we see here with one major. Okay, let's talk about Monday. 9 of Wands. So actually, this is really cool because as I was sitting here looking at the cards and kind of getting ready to pop on, I'm seeing some connections because we begin and end with the Ninja and the green and the red, all that's popping out. I'm going to pull that together at the end after we move through all the intuitive messages here. But 9 of Wands is that card of we're almost to completion. There's this sense of like we've almost completed. It's calling for perseverance to keep up that stamina. But there's a sense with the 9 of Wands of having to have an alertness of sort of the perimeter, boundaries, and protective energy as well, like feeling that we need to protect something that is ours. And this story gets into this kid being the king of treats, a title that's won by collecting the biggest bag of the best candy on offer in the neighborhood. And this is a feat that took brains, a good memory, speed, and quickness. Winning the contest is just one phase of being the candy king. So now our treat ninja can't help showing off the prize, but in doing so, it puts all at risk from would-be snatchers. So when this card comes up, it speaks to you having won, but made something, or completed something or feeling victorious of something, but you can't quite relax and enjoy it because despite the hard work, the diligence, the courage, maybe even some luck, the victory you seek isn't assured. It says the war, so to speak, hasn't been won, although this victory might put you in a better strategic position. So while you're tempted to celebrate or even relax, the situation requires constant vigilance. Those who oppose your plans aren't ready to give up. Your job is to stay alert and watch for signs of impending attack. As with all things in life, don't go too far and slip into paranoia. Well, just saying, feeling a little synchro right here with this energy because we were talking about with this card, those fears oftentimes being more imagined, more hidden behind symptoms that are coming up to the surface because there's something that we have an opportunity to overcome. And it's sort of like a last stand, it's like we're almost there. So, bringing it into this week, which, like I said, is very much, I feel, laying the groundwork for the whole of October. We're talking about something that you've worked really hard to foster in your life, to bring forward. And yes, this could be like an actual thing, of some type of success or accomplishment or something that you've worked very hard to purchase or create in your life. But also energetically to create peace and calm and stability and a sense of safety in your life or something, energetically or otherwise, you've worked really hard for, and you're not about to let any person, place, or thing come along and snatch that away. There's that sense. So there's this protective energy that's coming in here. But again, I think we're sort of ping-ponging back and forth between needing to look at the fear energy that's feeding some of that, and then this creation energy that's coming in on the other side as a potential for use that. How can you get really creative with that energy? So we'll see. I feel like it connects in with the Friday energy because, like I said, it's another ninja and there's more of these saber-like wands. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But let's now move into our potential blocker challenge with the Sea King. All right, Tuesday is bringing in the potential blocker challenge this week through the King of Cups. the energy that traditionally really embodies the full of the cups energy, which is really about flow and feelings. It's the element of water. It's about empathy, intuition, flow, the heart chakra. So brilliantly depicted here, lest we say beautiful. He is the Sea King in all his glory, sitting on his throne. So we're going to tap into the trick-or-treaters' message around this king and see how that could be coming forward for us this week as a potential blocker challenge. This Sea King thinks you are just as charming as can be. Want to sit by his throne and share some of his slimy green beverage? No? Well, you might want to reconsider that. Refusing his friendly overtures might cause offense. Do you really want this guy's mischievous malice oozing in your direction? When this card comes up, it represents someone who makes decisions from their heart that benefit relationships and, when possible, a greater good. While idealistic, like the Knight of Cups, this king is not naive and never loses sight of the big picture. The world is rarely kind to tender-hearted dreamers. This king has suffered, making them very empathetic, but never a dupe. They realize that understanding the world is essential because you can't play the game if you don't know the rules. To enlist the sympathy and help of this person, be sincere and make sure your idea truly serves a greater good in some way. Try to trick them and you'll feel the wrath generated by all the wounds they've suffered. So this energy that's coming in now, typically with a court card, the pages, knights, queen, king, they represent people, you, someone in your orbit, personality, or aspects of something that you would be best guided to embody as to your best ability, if it so speaks to you. So again, blocker challenge coming up, it's going to show up differently for everyone. But I know just from sharing a little bit about this king's nature, the empath, the sensitive, the creative, the person who walks through this world through that lens, we already understand the inherent challenge within that, okay? I get it. I'm feeling this Sea King for sure. And so, yeah, it is challenging to stay soft and tender-hearted while also having the boundaries and the ability not to get caught up in the net. And that's kind of akin to my spider analogy that I shared over the weekend. We talked about, we pulled some cards. We got last week too, I think there was a spider and web in our card that we received that was called observation. And I was saying how the crux of the message as I received it from Metatron when I was being attuned to his energy and really connecting in with the color healing work that I do now, the message of the spider was about this choice, this opportunity for us to be the architects of our own webs that we are weaving, or to get caught up in the sticky web. And I'm feeling that with the net here. If you see that, like this netting that he's sitting on, similarly, you can take your softness and your, the beautiful, what it is to be a deeply feeling person and to be really connected in with the heart and with humanity and, seeing the world through that lens. You can take all the best of that energy and utilize it to create from that place. Because, similarly, if you're challenged in that way, if it's difficult for you to open up, to allow yourself to be soft and sensitive or communicative around your deep feelings, it doesn't mean that you don't feel deeply, right? So there's this sense of there's a challenge in there because it's something that we may have protectively blocked off, shut out. Again, when we talk about the things that have come up through unhealthy emotions and experiences that can create a hardening, versus opening and softening to it, but from a very empowered place. And so there's a balance called for there. So again, okay, how's this showing up for you this week? Well, again, whether you're identifying with yourself as the Sea King or if you are thinking of someone who embodies that energy, the guidance here is about getting into alignment with that person, that energy, connecting in with this opportunity to be a tender-hearted dreamer, And so when we start talking about moving from fear to creation, we have this energy, and it's going to also connect in with the Emperor, to embody, to lean into, without getting overly ooey gooey emotional, because that's not going to help either. This is about those scales. It's about striking the balance between the two. So I think that is a challenge. So if you're feeling very emotional, or if you're feeling weary from all of that, or anywhere in between, this feels like a nod towards a potential way that could show up this week in the form of a potential block or challenge, but an opportunity here to really make sure that whatever it is that you're looking to create more of in your life, or to catch in that net, what you're looking to attract in, be sure that it truly does serve the greater good in some way. Because trying to get at it from a fear-based or egoic angle, it's talking about you're really going to get caught up in that net and not in a good way. So there's an energy of finding that balance is what I'm feeling there. So let's continue on. We'll see, because we have more cups coming right in here, but there's definitely this energy of the feels that we are navigating. So let's take a look now at Wednesday. Wednesday is our midweek blessing, and this one cracks me up because it's the trick-or-treater who's arrived home to maybe excitedly dump out their booty of everything that they've collected, only to be disappointed that they were hoping for some good chocolate and they just got like the other kind of candy. And again, this is going to be a matter of preference in my example. So whatever you like, it's as if you were really hoping that you had a lot of that good stuff. And then when you took account of everything you got, it's like ho hum. There's this sense of disappointment and disenchantment with what we have. Even though it's candy, you see? So it's like, this Four of Cups is bringing in that energy of awareness around feeling discontent or dissatisfied, bored, even depressed, maybe stagnant in our what's available to us or what we see in our immediate surroundings is the crux of a Four of Cups energy. Now, this story for our trick-or-treater is asking, are you one of those who dumps out the trick-or-treat bucket and goes straight for the chocolate? And how disappointed are you when 90% of the candy is not chocolate? Such an abundance of treats should make us feel grateful, but sometimes it doesn't. We might get so focused on the candy we don't like and overlook the prize we've been hoping for all along. So when this card comes up, perhaps you're not happy because everything is just so boring and stupid. At least there's, that's how you feel, whether it's true or not, that's how you feel. Where's my Reese's? Why did I get stuck with all these Whoppers? I'm saying that because I'm literally looking at these beads and I'm like, oh my gosh, they look like Whoppers. And I never liked Whoppers as a kid. Malted chocolate balls they are, by the way. But like I said, to each their own. You might be like, give me all your Whoppers, So it's all about perspective. I love the analogy. So, that might be how you feel. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Your feelings are your feelings. And this card isn't judging you. These feelings let you know what you don't want, which helps figure out what you do want. It's hard to stay mopey for long. So the card offers some advice. When your mood passes, and if you are still not happy with your life, quit looking in the same places for satisfaction. To find something new, you must look somewhere new, right? So this is an opportunity for us to tune into how we feel, the frequency of feels. Now, first we got the challenge to you. And again, this is my challenge by choice. You remember a couple of weeks ago, if you were with me on the September Sharecast, and I was sharing about how I chaperoned my son's field trip for a ropes course. It was a team building event, and they came up with this brilliant phrase about how they were challenging themselves by choice. And to me, that's very empowering, because when I say a block or a challenge, you're like, oh, what's coming up? What am I going to be stumbling over? What kind of thing is coming up to like throw me off course this week? Or how can I challenge myself this week to go deeper? So if you look at that King of Cups from Tuesday's energy as the challenge, challenging yourself to be seated in that throne of aligned and balanced empathy, sensitivity, emotional maturity, so that when you come into contact with something that is disappointing, disenchanting, boring, frustrating, any of those lower vibrational energies of ho-hum, look at all these whoppers, then you're coming to that table through the lens of the King of Cups, embodying that energy, so that you can then take a look at your surroundings anew and say, okay, but I did get some candy here. So what can I do with what I have? How can I work with this? And if I'm still finding that I'm not satisfied with what meets the eye, then we've got to look somewhere new. We've got to shake it up and try something new. So there's a blessing in the awareness. And one of the things that, and I'll show you the big picture so you can see it maybe more clearly So the cool thing about the Four of Cups is so the focus is very much on what's on the table, but there's a chocolate bar being offered right here and they're missing it. They don't see this option. They wanted the chocolate. It's dangling right there, but they're missing it because they're caught up in this energy of, this lower vibrational discontentment, dissatisfaction, boredom, etc. So there's a blessing in allowing that which disenchants us to be the very thing that inspires us to go beyond, right? And so whether that's recreating from the source that we have or seeking out something new to create with. So that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead now and take a look at how we're growing this week through all of that. Okay, Thursday represents how we are growing, and it's our one major arcana card, the Emperor. And it's bringing in the vibration of the number 4, which is very much about that structure, framework, of these foundations that we're building. And, we're here in October now looking at, down the horizon, we can see the end of this year and the 2025 corridor. So we're at this place where we might be doing some analytical strategizing in terms of what we can do, what we wish to do from now until then and beyond, and all the things, the headsy stuff that goes on, which is funny because Trick-or-Treater Tarot says it's purposeful that it says in regular life, the Emperor card is all about using one's head. Very strategic, very analytical, very much about the thought. And that's why this costume is so funny, because an Emperor without a head is not very effective. Again, if you can't see clearly, this is the Emperor with the headless guy there with the pumpkin head. So it's just kind of funny because it's there's a strong leadership in the energy of the Emperor. And the Emperor is Aries energy as well. And so this is one of my spiritual breadcrumbs that's telling me about this spread, that some of this stuff that's going on here with the ninja, and that we'll talk about with Friday is pointing towards the full moon in Aries later this month. I'm just getting a little nugget there about that. So we'll see how that unfolds, but I'm just mentioning that. So an Emperor without a head is not very effective because that's the whole point of the way that the Emperor energy is embodied. So nevertheless, this Emperor is taking over the sidewalk, trying to lead the way, even if his potential followers are not quite certain they want to follow him. So I could go all kinds of places with this one. How are we growing in these headless emperors? Depending on where you live in the world, you may have some ideas about these leaders' energies that we're not sure if we want to follow, or we know very well that we do not. But bring it into this week, bring it into you on your small stage, understanding that, having this insight and awareness into where you are and how you affect the whole is that ripple effect to the collective, right? So when this card is coming up, it says, be prepared for someone to exert their authority and for life to get really organized. It might be you taking the lead, or it could be someone else stepping in. This is not about an ego-based power trip, though, okay? A true emperor works for the common good of all. So such an emperor they have to be smart to use their abilities to manage, organize, and structure resources so that everyone can enjoy the benefits. Being in charge and being responsible for others is hard and sometimes thankless work. People confuse emperors with bullies because they tell them things they don't want to do. But sometimes an adult is needed. It might be no fun at the time, but later everyone will be grateful. Yeah, lots of different thoughts there, because that does sound like, parenting problems, having to be the leader, to be the adult in the room, to lay that foundation of the boundaries, the structure, the rules that may not always be fully understood by all of those other little trick-or-treaters that are following you, whether it be furry friends or children or however. Little practical nod there to some, where we're growing because there's this sense of, and I feel like, again, the King of Cups and the Emperor being very connected, because this one's ruling from the heart, this one's ruling from the head, but there's a balance to be struck here. So we're growing into greater balance when it comes to utilizing all of our resources. So, if you're really good at, organizing a to-do list and tackling those things one by one, this could be an opportunity for you to really shine there and step into that power where you could be doing that for yourself, or you may have an opportunity to share that with others that could benefit from that. Or if you're somebody who runs around with their head cut off like me at the last minute and has to get things done under pressure, no judgment for us procrastinators. We could benefit from connecting with someone who does embody more of those emperor-like qualities, to find maybe some new and efficient ways to get things done, to tackle something, or to really harness some of that creative energy. Because that's another thing. I don't know. I just really feel this guy, because it's like when you're a creative, okay, and I know a lot of us really do dabble in that space, you have all these amazing ideas all over the place, right? And a million unfinished projects, whether they're physically apparent in your space, or, open tabs in your head, or all of the above. This is beautiful and creative and soft and flow and all these things. It's very unstructured. It's very much like he's underwater, and it's just like, whatever. Over here, it's completely rigid, structured, not taking any steps without having a plan. So here comes those scales again. Here comes this opportunity to find the balance and flow between two ways of being. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just a matter of being able to tap into those resources and harness them in a way that works for you. So, yes, stability, structure, power, authority, leadership, but also, allowing for that creativity as well. Also, the Emperor represents father figure, divine masculine energy. So again, practical, this could be about father energy, parental energy, something like that as well, are different ways that it could show up for people. But it's showing that there is growth in I feel like a greater understanding and like a cohesion between these two different approaches, or these two different ways of being. And this can have to do with how we communicate, how we do stuff, like, again, like somebody who's really rigid and very structured, and somebody who's not so much, and finding that balance between the two is what I'm feeling there. Okay, let's get into our Friday card here to wrap up the week. All right, finally Friday, we're bringing in this crossroads, meeting point, place, choice point with the Two of Swords, with another ninja. So like I said, I got a little ping when I was sort of marinating on these cards, the green light and the red light coming forward through the challenge of the 9 that came in here for perseverance, for protection, for discernment. And now we have this choice point of the 2, where we're looking at the ways in which, yellow, okay, yep. See those traffic lights? So what that says to me is about choice, when to go, when to slow, when to stop, right? So we're on this journey. We're moving along into this week and into October and through the rest of 2024 and all the places that we'll go. The places we'll go, right? Between now and then. And I'm really feeling a nod here. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, so we're looking at this traffic light energy as far as which way do we go and how do we go and all the things. So this one's bringing in the air element, the swords. And so I just saw in the book that ahead of each one, she has a little bit about each suit. So I'm just going to share with you what she has here about the swords, because I do feel like on the other side of eclipse and the new moon in Libra that we're experiencing this week, Friday, wrapping up the week in reflection, we're bringing in maybe some new awarenesses here. So the suit of swords, if you think about airy things and all the forms that air can take, like gentle breezes, strong winds, tornadoes, and breath, you get a good idea of the energy that fuels the suit of swords. These cards represent ideas, the way we think about things, problems, and if we're lucky, their solutions. Sometimes the court cards in this suit, they can represent people with airy astrology signs. Yes, but we did not get any of those today. But I'll just tell you then, since we did get our King of Cups, that is speaking to potentially, so remember when we talked about the King of Cups, is this you? Is it someone in your orbit? Is it something that you could embody? Then we're talking about those watery astrology signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So just mentioning that too, especially because I feel that there's so much connection here with these cards. So this Two of Swords is saying, some people like trick-or-treating, some prefer a house party, and others like to hang out in cemeteries, to each their own. Admittedly, a crumbly old tombstone is a fine place to practice your Jedi ninja skills. Also, the only other people around are already dead, so you won't hurt anyone if you lose control of your lightsabers, so she says. So when this card comes up, you will face a decision that you just can't seem to make. It is a decision best made by rational thought. Easy peasy, right? Make a list of pros and cons. Unfortunately, this card lets you know it won't be so simple. First, it's a logic problem, but your heart might have other ideas. In this case, let your brain win. Second, whether your heart is butting in or not, you simply do not have all the facts yet. Put off any action for a while. As surely as the moon waxes and wanes, this moment of confusion will pass. So this was the breadcrumb trail, as I mentioned, that I was starting to piece together in the way that it's coming to me intuitively, that was pointing us to the full moon in Aries in the middle of this month. Because again, if you don't suddenly have all this clarity and awareness and understanding, seeds that you planted back in April now coming into fruition, kumbaya, yay, everybody. Maybe not. We might still feel confused and at this juxtaposition, or in some way it's just still not clear. We're still going around and around analyzing versus the feels that we have. And, this is certainly speaking to the need for a little more of getting that head on straight with the logic versus getting really swept up in the emotions. And that's because because we're clearing a lot of emotions right now, that there's a lot of things that are coming to the surface that aren't here to stay. They're the symptoms of the fear, right? So bringing us full circle back to our moon and sun energy, the symptoms of the fear are showing up through emotions, through a state of being in a moment that actually is not the place from where we want to make our important decisions, right? So I'm feeling this need to sort of get into a space where we can stop for a moment. This is just really cool with the colors, because I feel like the green is highlighting the head and the wand, because the wand is your creativity and your passion and your work in the world and what you're birthing, and you do that through what you're creating. And we want to wield that wand of creativity, that wand that encompasses the essence of who we are and what we've come to bring and to contribute. We want that to be the thing that is dealing with the fear, that is overseeing the fear. All the things that are encompassed here in this place, again, likening it to that card, is that's the space from where we want to come, even though it is important for us to be in flow with our intuition and our emotion when it comes to how does that make me feel. I'm very aware of how I feel in this moment because those are all symptoms, indicators around what fears could be playing up, what emotions are here to be cleansed and transmuted, etc. Putting us into the head, stop, right? Just stop for a moment and be in this place where we just maybe don't know yet. And so then there's this opportunity, like I said, with the Aries being highlighted here with the Emperor, that more clarity to come, more illumination to come. So in the interim, in the by and by, be here. But again, these two, the blessing and this card are very connected because they both tell you to look beyond, to look deeper, to look around, because the Two of Swords and the Four of Cups, you can get really hyper fixated on something very limited and we're not seeing the full picture. So it speaks to insufficient data, a lack of facts, even denial, feeling conflicted, head and heart in opposition. So there's an opportunity here for us to work on streamlining and bringing those things into greater balance so that as we move into a creation state, right, that we are creating from that place. So again, I know that this will continue to unfold. It will be very interesting to see. I've already chosen the spread I'm using for the new moon in Libra solar eclipse this week for the new moon empowerment reading. I've chosen the spread, but I haven't tapped in yet or chosen the deck and all the goodies. So that's available if you want to come along, because I feel that's really going to be expanding on a lot of these energies that are coming up that we'll have some more insight into. And of course, we'll be building off of these two cards as well. So once again, thank you guys for being here. And I can't wait to continue to trick or treat our way through the month with all of these things. Yes, you can tell I have a little too much fun with this, but I hope you enjoy it. So if you would like a personal card pull this week off of this spread, and then I'll pull a card just for you, which I send to you in a private polo, please feel free to let me know in any way that works for you. As I mentioned, I'll be getting to those on the other side this week of my session work. So if you are already with me for the Empowerment Pack this month, or if you would like to join, we're kicking all that off this week, and there's going to be 2 big readings this week right out the gate. The month ahead energies, we're going to tap into a color crystal spirit animal. I'm switching it up and using some different decks this month for those. And then sharing my intuitive words that have come through for sort of some energies and themes that are emerging for me intuitively for this month. Astrological weather, all the things. And then part 2 of that first reading is your personal beginning, middle, end of the month energies reading. And then we have the new moon reading, which again, both of those are available as a part of the bundle or separately. And again, if you have any questions about all of that, please ask. Sometimes it feels like I know what I know. So then I'm like, I hope it's clear what I'm explaining and there aren't too many choices that you're overwhelmed. So let me know if you would like to know more. I'd love to have you join. But otherwise, thank you all so much. Once again, wishing you all a beautiful week as we continue to move through these eclipse energies and step into this new month ahead. Sending you all much love and many blessings. We'll talk soon.